This is A Few Good Fights. I'm your host, Rob, and I'm joined by Sean as always. Do it, Sean.
Hello, babies. What's happening?
That's what we were waiting on. We have a big show this week, and I think you might enjoy it. We're talking Gaethje versus Conor McGregor because potentially that might actually happen. We also had Wilder versus Fury 2 last weekend, and Felder versus Hooker. I spoke a little bit about that, Sean, recently enough, but we're going to get into that again because there's more news and more fallout from it, so I want to talk about that. Plus as well, Henry Cejudo and Jose Aldo are going to fight. Jose Aldo is getting a title fight off a loss, and there's actually a few other fights as well announced. We're going to chat about that a little bit later on.
A few good fights, you could say.
A few good fights. Well done, Sean. Plus, we have a special guest. For long-time listeners of the show and long-time viewers of the show, you might recognise this person, so you better tune in until the end of the show. You might like it. So this is the big MMA news, and Sean, there was a few big fights on the weekend, a few good fights, may I say, on the weekend, but I don't want to start with them. I want to start with probably the biggest news this week in MMA, and that's the announcement from Ariel Helwani that Conor McGregor versus Justin Gaethje is reportedly in the works for the summer. Now, Ali Abdelaziz, of course, Gaethje's manager, came out and said that they won't be fighting and that's not actually on the table. What's your thoughts on this fight? Do you like it?
Oh man, inject that fight into my veins. I think that's a hell of a fight. I think Gaethje is such a tough fight for McGregor. I would have liked to seen it instead of the Cowboy fight.
Yeah, you were calling for that one.
Yeah, they obviously wanted Conor to get a win.
Yeah.
Cowboy obliged. I think this is a hell of a fight. It's such a fun one. Yeah, Ali's not going to come out and say, yeah, we're talking. So he obviously was. I don't know why he actually commented, really. He didn't have to.
Yeah, he seems to like to, I don't know, insert himself into stories sometimes.
Yeah, it's a weird one that he comments because he doesn't really need to hear, unless it was something outrageous that was said about McGregor. But
yeah.
I wouldn't say yes or no because of what he said. It wouldn't really bother me.
Maybe it's some kind of, message to the UFC saying, listen.
It could be a power play.
Yeah, if we're going to put this fight together, you're going to have to give Gaethje what he wants because he should be the number one contender, so fair enough. But yeah, I want to talk about this fight a little bit. I agree with you. I think it's an incredibly tough fight for Conor. Now, I see a path to victory for both guys, and I see a potentially dominant path to victory. You know, it's one of them fights where...
Yeah, it's going to be conclusive.
Yeah, I feel it's going to be conclusive. I don't see it being this really close war. Maybe for a couple of rounds it could go that way, but I feel like if the fight goes late and Gaethje can make Conor get into a brawl, I think that's Gaethje's fight to lose. If Conor can land some big shots early on, it could be the opposite. So I do see why both guys will be looking at this and thinking it's advantageous to either one.
I think we know the game plan of both fighters as well. We're not going to see anything new from either guy in that fight if it gets made. Yeah, I agree. I think I could see what I see is violence really in that fight. A lot of violence, a lot of blood, sweat, thunder, all that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any odds for it yet, but what would you do? Where would you kind of set the line, the initial line?
How I reckon it would be priced up is McGregor like 4-7.
Yeah,
you might get 6-4-ish, 6-4, 7-4 on Gaethje, which I'd be quite happy to take personally. That's roughly how I'd price it up, and I'd be quite happy to take Gaethje at those odds. Yeah,
so. And I guess that's partially because you think a lot of money will come in on McGregor.
Yeah, like
they're not going to price up too much.
Yeah, there's always going to be money for McGregor, especially. I love watching McGregor's odds on fight night because the Irish are obviously lumping on him, and he just gets shorter, and it's just ridiculous sometimes. It happened with the Diaz fight in particular, the second one, and I remember watching him getting shorter and shorter, thinking this is scandalous. Like,
yeah.
It's just Irish. It's patriotic money.
Yeah. How do you feel, speaking of Irish, how do you feel that the turnout for McGregor will be this time out? So we've had that, travel and just, I guess, the excitement in the country, because I don't care what anyone says, the excitement wasn't there last time. It just wasn't. I mean, there was definite pockets of Irish fans who were really up for the fight. And of course, MMA fans were really up for the fight. But it wasn't the same. Like, I mean, when I woke up the next morning, I didn't have millions of texts from people asking how did the fight go and stuff, which I generally had before that. So now that he's got that one fight down against Cerrone, very, very impressive. And I think we saw a lot of people, maybe not jump back on the bandwagon, but at least, consider it. And they bought a ticket potentially to have an option. How do you feel it's going to go this time around?
I think we saw a lot of Irish Americans at that last fight.
We did, yeah.
I don't see too much changing, really.
No.
I don't think you're going to see back to the Aldo Mendez days of, what was there, 5,000 people travelling over, more, probably 10,000.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't 10,000.
No, I don't know what it was, but
there
was a lot.
There was thousands of people travelling over. Yeah. I don't think you'll see that again, to be honest.
No. I do think, though, that this is a fight that puts him on the road back to that, or at least puts him on the road back to gaining a hell of a lot of respect from a lot of MMA fans, especially hardcore MMA fans, because, you know, we have this narrative that this is a favourable matchup for Conor, and we kind of just spoke about that. You know, I get why some people think that, because there is parts of the fight where he will definitely excel, but I think MMA fans in the know will look at this and say, man, this is a hell of a matchup. This is a dangerous fight for McGregor. There's not many people in that division who wants to fight Justin Gaethje, apart from Dan Hooker, of course, who called him out as well, who's a madman. But I think this is the type of fight that a lot of MMA fans will at least give a lot of respect back to Conor.
I agree, yeah. I think it's a fight kind of back to when he was coming up, and it's like, this is the guy that's going to beat him. Remember when every time he'd fight someone, he'd be like, oh, the wrestler, the grappler, or whatever, the jiu-jitsu guy.
Now it's I think this is one where you're like, aggressive guy.
I think this is the one where you're kind of like, he actually could lose this one.
Yeah.
Whereas we didn't feel that with Cowboy.
No.
Really.
No.
Felt that with Khabib big time.
Yeah.
So
that's different because that's a title fight. So, you know, it's not like
it's a genuine fight where you're like, damn, he could lose this one. So yeah, I think he'd get a lot of respect for taking it. I personally am a little bit surprised that that's a fight he's looking at, because I don't think, as much as he has to gain, it's a hell of a risky fight that he doesn't necessarily have to take, because he's going to get the Khabib fight anyway. That's
the weird one, isn't it? Because like, I think it's phenomenal, especially if it happens at 155. It's brilliant.
It won't.
I don't think it will either. I think it's going to be 170, which is a shame. I mean, fair enough, whatever, do what you want. But it's one of them fights where it's a proper contendership match. Yeah. It's a number one contendership match, and it's a legit one. Like, I don't agree that Conor should get a title fight coming off a Donald Cerrone win. I think that's scandalous.
170.
Yeah, at 170 as well. I think that's scandalous. But if he goes in there and beats Justin Gaethje,
big facts, yeah,
go for it.
Yeah.
And if Justin Gaethje wins, Justin Gaethje could easily be next in line for a title anyway.
Yeah.
If he beats Conor, brilliant, give him a title fight. So it's a legitimate number one contender fight. And I think when we talk about a story further down this list of stories that we have today, it's almost a breath of fresh air. That it's a good sporting fight. I like it.
Yeah, it's a bona fide number one contender fight, as in, winner, go get your title shot, man. You deserve it. So, yeah.
There was a big boxing fight last weekend. I gave my thoughts on it, so I want to get your thoughts on this one, Sean. Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder in a very dominant performance. So dominant. Of course, Sean, you picked Tyson Fury. You said go put your money on Tyson Fury.
I did think it'd be a decision.
Yeah, but you did think it'd be a decision. And I think Tyson was very, very impressive. So what's your overall thoughts? Encapsulate them for me. Tell me.
Fair play to Fury. He came out and did what he said he was going to do. I thought it was, to be honest, my thoughts were, if he went out and did what he said he was going to do, that it was utter suicide.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Except he went to total extreme of what he had said he was going to do, and instead of boxing on the outside and on the back foot, he totally smothered Deontay Wilder, and he just couldn't get the right hand off at all. So he was so impressive, and it's such a tough one now. It's a total other dimension to his style.
It's like something we didn't see before, really. Early in his career, maybe a little bit.
Against Binman.
Yeah.
If you're fighting Tyson now, you're like, how the fuck do I prep for this? What's he going to do? Is he going to come out and box around me and move and feint and this jittery shit he does? And, or is he going to come out and smother me for whatever rounds? But yeah, he looked so impressive. Luke does a really good breakdown on the fight as well.
Yeah.
Where he goes through the A stance. I think it's the A stance it's called. And the two-step thing he was doing, it's just so clever. He's such a good boxer. His feinting was immense.
Yeah.
Just didn't let Wilder rest for a minute. It was on him from the get-go. The start of the fight, he ran across the ring at him and was on top of him from the start. And it would have been even more. I think the ref fairly looked after Wilder in that fight. He didn't really let them clinch. He took a bullshit point off Fury. I think if the ref had let them clinch, he bullied him. He strong-armed him around to hit the ring.
There was a few moments where you could see the referee was allowing a little bit of clinching, and Fury was dominating in there. He was absolutely dominating in there. And I agree. I think that the point was bullshit. I mean, it was, but they were both doing it. They were both doing it. Like, it was constantly. It was throughout the fight. So, phenomenal performance. I do agree with you, though. That's a completely different dimension to Tyson Fury now. That's impressive. And now when I look at, like, Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, Man, I just don't see where Joshua wins that fight. I personally don't see. Like, I mean, Joshua's a good boxer.
Yeah.
He's obviously a better boxer than Deontay Wilder.
Deontay Wilder is so. He has one thing that's the biggest equalizer, arguably ever.
Yeah.
Like he loses pretty much every second of every one of his fights. Yeah. He lost every second of the fight against Tyson, the first one in my opinion, bar the where he knocked him down twice. He lost every second of the fight against Luis Ortiz. Fucking sparked him with a straight right.
Yeah.
Dominic Breazeale outboxed him.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua beat him after 18 fights or something like that. I think Joshua beats Wilder. I thought Joshua beat Wilder anyway, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Joshua, I don't think he beats Fury. I've seen the odds on that one as well. Fury is 4-9, I believe.
Yeah.
Joshua's around 15-8. I wouldn't back it personally.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't back it personally. And we've seen a lot of pop in Fury's shots, and that wasn't something I'd really seen before. Basically, what he did for a lot of his fights was just touch you up and hit you with not volume, but he'd come in and he'd land a couple of awkward looking shots that would just score points.
Yeah.
But there was actually a lot of pop to his shots the other night. So that was interesting.
Do you put that down to his new trainer?
Man, big up Sugar Hill and Andy Lee, an Irishman as well. I'm a big fan of Andy Lee. Seems a good guy. He seems like he's going to be a really good coach as well. He has a couple of guys who are top ranked there as well. He's looking after Paddy Donovan. A couple of other guys. So really excited to see what Andy Lee does in coaching wise.
So do you see? Like him. So do you see that change coming a lot down to what they were doing in training?
Yeah, it seems to be. It seems to be honest. Because he wasn't. Ben Davison, his old trainer, actually, I was listening to an interview with him. Afterwards, reading a couple of things. He's so surprised by the game plan. So it was obviously Ben probably would have just gone with the same game plan as the first fight, which is what I would have done. I mean, that's not broke. Don't fix it. He won the first fight. They obviously didn't want to leave it in the judge's hands, though. So understand.
In hindsight, when you look at now what the performance was and how he done it, you're like, man, that was smart. Like that's a smart. Going in, you're like suicide. Coming out of it, you're like unbelievably smart. Well done. If Joshua and Fury fight, which is, it's up in the air. There's a lot of things that have to happen. Do you think it's going to happen?
Yeah, I think it'll happen.
Well, there's a lot of things that have to happen for that to happen.
Yeah, Wilder's going to take so they both had rematch clauses. Whoever lost had a rematch clause.
And he's taking it. Wilder is.
He hasn't officially triggered it, but he has said in media he's going to take it. Although he also said he wasn't hurting the fight, so Anyway.
But it could be career suicide if he doesn't take it.
I think it's an interesting one, as in he could not take it. You see, the split in the third fight is 60-40 to the winner of the second. So the first two are 50-50.
Yeah.
And I think if he doesn't take it, he can go get some wins, and get a mandatory status, and probably get a bigger payday if he goes and gets a couple of wins.
How long do you think Fury's going to stick around, though? How many fights he's going to have?
3 or 4, I think.
I don't think he's staying around for too long.
I think as well, if he works his way back up, I actually think he could end up with a bigger payday because the fight is bigger. I don't think the fight is as big as... The third fight isn't as big as the second one now, in my opinion, because it was too conclusive.
Yeah.
The first fight, there had to be a second fight after the first fight because it was a robbery. It was a total robbery. The third fight isn't as intriguing to me as the first fight, or as the first two fights in general.
I also think fans might get a little bit bitter with the stuff that Wilder's coming out with now, saying that the costume affected him and all this stuff. I wasn't hurt, and now the corner stuff is insane. So basically,
I never have been a fan of Wilder. I think he talks a lot of bollocks. I think he's always talking about putting bodies on his record as if he's genuine. It's not. That's nice to hear. Cool.
But I think the corner stuff is egregious. So if you didn't watch the fight ended with Fury's corner thrown in the towel. It was one particular trainer.
Him.
And now they're basically the rest of the corner have separated that guy from the pack and saying he shouldn't have done it. We want the fight to continue because Wilder is the type of guy who wants to go out on his shield. And I just think that's a dangerous line of thinking from a corner. If I was in that camp, I'd be like, I don't give a fuck what Deontay Wilder wants. If I'm going to be in your corner and I'm going to be responsible for you, I'm throwing in the towel if I think the towel has to be thrown in. And I wouldn't be a part of the team if it wasn't that case. Because you can't be a yes man in that situation. There's too much at stake. Health-wise, not just purse-wise, health-wise. It's insane.
We know what fighters are like, and I think you have to surround... It looks pretty obvious that Wilder surrounds himself with a bunch of yes men.
Yeah.
I think corners have to make the decisions that fighters won't make.
Yes.
That's what they're there for.
Yeah.
You have to have a team that you trust to make the decision for you. You might not like it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not going to like it. We've seen it from MMA fighters all the time when they throw the towel in or they pull them. They don't like it, but you have to have a team that can make that decision for you.
Yeah.
And the costume thing, right? Can we actually let's take it serious for a second and break it down.
Yeah.
The costume was too heavy. The costume was 45 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
He's a heavyweight boxer.
Mm-hmm.
What do you squat?
Oh, off the hand, 300 kilo. I'm joking. I don't know. Fucking, I could do 100 kilo.
More than 40 pounds.
Yeah, well, a hell of a lot more than 40 pounds.
So let's say that the costume was heavy. He's a heavyweight boxer. He obviously does strength and conditioning. He does his legs. Shut the fuck up talking shit. Insane, yeah. And like he would have been tired from the warm up. Did he warm up or what? And did he not try the costume on before? Did they just come to him or Deontay, you're walking out in 2 minutes. Grant, let's try this on for the first time.
Yeah.
Surely he tried it on.
Yeah.
Insanity. Like absolute insanity.
It's one of the worst excuses I've ever heard.
Probably is the worst excuse I've ever heard.
Like he's reaching deep for that one.
Yeah. David Hay had a couple of bad ones in boxing as well.
What was the one?
The big toe.
The big toe, yeah. That was a gas one. Yeah,
there's been some bad ones.
There's been some bad ones, but like that's really bad.
Yeah. As in just like when Joshua lost to Ruiz, there was definitely some issues he had in that camp as well. It's been sort of whispered about. I haven't heard Joshua talk about it.
Yeah.
So just said he got beat by the better man.
Quick question before we move on.
Yep.
If Joshua and Tyson Fury fight, what kind of style does Tyson Fury come in with?
Jesus, I don't even think Tyson knows the answer to that. He'll tell you on the night.
Yeah.
How would I do it if I was Tyson? I'd probably do what he did to Wilder.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I think.
You
know what? He can switch it up in the fight as well.
Yeah.
As in, he can try box on the outside and Joshua won't be able to hit him.
Yeah. But
the problem is, if you play the rope a dope long enough, you're going to get hit.
Exactly.
Joshua hits very hard as well. We've seen that with Deontay, as in you can catch Tyson.
Yeah. We've seen Joshua hurt a few times.
Yeah, we've seen Tyson hurt a few times by lesser guys than Deontay Wilder as well.
Yeah.
I think, I'd probably go the smothering route.
Yeah, try it out.
Yeah, bully Joshua a little bit. Joshua's a big dude though. He wouldn't be able to bully him just as easy as he did Deontay.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure. It's an interesting one.
I agree with that. UFC Auckland went down on the weekend. Don't want to get too much into this. I spoke about it on a video that I done. Check it out. But I want to get your thoughts on it really quick, Sean. What was your thoughts on the main event? In my opinion, it was one of the better fights I've seen in quite a while. I just think it was a championship performance by two guys who aren't even in the top 5, and I think that tells you a lot about how good lightweight is in MMA. It's phenomenal. But I want to get your thoughts on it. Here is a picture, Sean's going to throw it up on the screen, of the two guys in the hospital after the fight, and it's insane. Really, really close fight. Dan Hooker edged it out, according to the judges. I've seen a lot of people, actually most people, have told me that they gave it to Paul Felder. So, thoughts on the fight and how did you score it?
Man, we were chatting after. We both watched it the next morning. Hell of a fight.
Yeah.
As primal as it gets, I think.
Yes, that's the right word.
Primal
like, look
as
at
it gets. My favourite bit in the fight was, I think it was at the end of the third round, and Duke Rufus mentioned it. It was literally a trigger word. He flicked the switch on Felder, and he mentioned his daughter. What the fuck are you doing in this fight, man?
Oh my God.
Felder just comes out swinging, and it's unbelievable. You can see him bite. Did you see the picture of his gum shield?
Yeah.
Man, he was biting down on that gum shield.
He was biting down on that.
Phenomenal fight. I thought Hooker was brilliant for the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
First couple of rounds.
Do you think 5 was the swing round?
Yeah.
Do you think it was?
Yeah, like I personally scored it for Hooker. I had a 2-all going into the 5th.
And the takedowns and the positioning.
Like when he gets that takedown, the decision's not going to go against him, I don't think, at hometown. I don't think it's going to go against him.
Do you agree with that, though?
I don't disagree with the decision, but I'm not sure I agree with it. I don't disagree with the decision. It was a hell...
I agree.
I think it was as close a fight as I've seen in quite a while.
Yeah.
It's by no means a robbery at all.
Yeah.
I think Felder comes out with his stock going up a little bit out of that. That's not a lot. It's not a damaging loss other than for his brain and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not a damaging loss for his career. He comes out of that fight with his head held high, I think. I mean, if he does go out on that one, hell of a fight to go out on.
Yeah. He also said, and we probably have to tweet there, I'm not sure, Sean can go find it in a picture, but he also said, Felder, that he wants to visit Dublin again, I guess referring to UFC Dublin. And we spoke about this before. Depending on how that result went, we thought maybe Paul Felder could be a guy to headline UFC Dublin. I think he still could headline it. Like, I think he's still a big enough star. But I think, personally, I'd love to see co-main event slot and then get someone else in the main event. Just someone coming off a win. So. But either way, it looks like he's not going to retire despite saying he might. One thing we spoke about actually for the last couple of weeks was MMA judging. And essentially our thoughts are, to fix MMA judging, you've got to educate judges. And I still think that's true. But we also said there's those edge cases where no matter how educated you are,
You're going to have an opinion
you're gonna,
as well.
Exactly. And rounds are going to be very close and they're going to be difficult to score. And I think this is the perfect example of that. I think this is as close as you could get.
Some of them rounds are very tough to score. I think the only definitive round was the first round of Hooker, really.
I agree. I think they're very hard to score. Yeah. And I've seen very, very smart people in MMA disagree on these rounds and after multiple watches. So I think there is that. So that was a phenomenal performance.
Yeah, brilliant fight, man.
Brilliant fight.
The interviews after were deadly.
Yeah. Hooker said that he's looking to fight either Gaethje or now Poirier, he said. It looks like Gaethje might be fighting McGregor, so Hooker, Poirier.
I'm such a give me them two fights. Hooker and Poirier and then Gaethje and McGregor.
Same card. Same card.
Inject that into my veins, man. That is two hell of fights.
Yes, sir. I love it.
Yeah, either or for Hooker. Big fans. The three of them, put McGregor aside even for a minute. Gaethje, Hooker, Poirier. Match the three of them up.
Yeah.
So any of them four, right? Put any of them four against each other, and I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Really.
That's lightweight.
So
that's lightweight here.
Buzzing it.
Although McGregor might fight at 170 and thing.
As a lightweight.
Yeah. Here's an interesting topic. Okay, so there's two pieces of news here that I wanted to talk about, but I'm going to lump them into one because they're quite related. So Henry Cejudo versus Jose Aldo is set for UFC 250. This is Jose Aldo coming off two losses, but coming off his debut loss at 135, now getting a title fight against Henry Cejudo, the guy who just beat the guy who just lost to Henry Cejudo as well. Henry Cejudo's last title defense, or Jose Aldo just lost to him. And then you have Alex Volkanovski versus Max Holloway, a rematch to headline UFC 251. Of course, this is an instant rematch, so Holloway's obviously coming off a loss, but it's an immediate rematch, so it's a little bit different. But then you also have at UFC 248, Adesanya versus Romero. Romero coming off a loss fighting Adesanya. So you have three big fights this year and three title fights of the challenger coming off a loss. When you see these, do they relate to you or are they all too different to relate?
They're all too different, man. Just put the three fights to me there again.
So Jose Aldo and
I think
Henry
this
Cejudo.
is the worst of the three.
That's definitely the worst of the three.
The worst of the three. There's three better fights out there for Henry Cejudo. Benavidez, the rematch.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
At flyweight.
Yeah.
That rematch. Or Peter Yan or Aljamain Sterling.
Yes.
There are three better fights for Henry Cejudo. I actually... The other ones you can totally make cases for. They're totally defendable in my opinion. I can't really understand this fight.
I can't understand. To be honest. I think is it in Brazil? I think it's in Brazil.
It probably is.
Yeah.
Do you know what as well? I actually don't mind the fight on its own.
As a thing.
As a fight, I don't mind it at all.
Yeah. It's just I actually give Aldo a bit of a shot as well.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense is the thing. What's the point in having not even rankings but contendership in general if you're not going to give it to the most deserving guy? It's not like Sterling and Yan are injured and can't take the fight, as is the case with Yoel Romero and Paulo Costa.
Yeah.
That makes total sense because middleweight is just a bit backed up there with injuries. So Yoel makes sense and it's Yoel fucking Romero.
Yeah.
He's had some wins over good level opposition, arguably beat Robert Whittaker. Then the other one, Holloway. Holloway is arguably the featherweight GOAT. He can totally, in my opinion, come out of that loss and say, I want the rematch. He's arguably the GOAT at featherweight. He can dictate up until the rematch, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't make sense of Cejudo Aldo, to be honest.
Yeah. Either can I. That's the really egregious one, I think. And I've seen on Twitter and everywhere else that a lot of people are saying that this is like the downfall of the UFC with all these guys getting title fights off losses. But these ones are all very different. The only one that really stands out is that Cejudo one, because it's
I think you can't just say, oh, guys getting title shots off losses. As in, you have to actually take them as look at them for what they are. As in, middleweight is the best example because it's just blocked up with injuries.
Yeah.
As in, Costa's next in line, can't fight. Whittaker's out indefinitely. Till probably needs another win. Cannonier, guys like that, it's a bit soon for him. Yoel Romero, he's a perennial contender there. Yeah. So,
but like, here's the argument for that one though. Like, I do agree. I think it kind of makes sense because there's not really
because it has
there.
To make sense.
Yeah, but I think if you look at like say Darren Till, where like he probably needs another win, but then you can make the argument that Yoel Romero probably needs another win as well. So like that is there. So I can see that argument. But
then is he asked from those out? So.
Yeah, but I don't think that should matter. I really don't. And that's one thing I actually want to talk about. So the reason why I find the Aldo one quite egregious is basically based on Dana White's comments coming into this one. Did you see this?
No.
So after Jose Aldo lost to Marlon Moraes, this is what Dana White said. He said, I think Jose Aldo won that fight. He said in the post-fight press conference.
Dana's not a judge, though.
Most of the room thought he won. If Cejudo wants Aldo next, we could do it. I don't have a problem with it. I'm sure people would want to see it. Now, for me, there's no difference in that than some Bush League promotion changing the results of fights because they don't think they're right. Because that's essentially what he's doing. No, they're not changing that L to a W on his record, but they're essentially treating him like he won the fight. They're rewarding him like he won the fight. And they're doing it because people want to see it, i.e., we'll make some money off it, and more money than we might make off some other ones. I think that's an actual admission of this is a bit fucking shady.
Yeah, it's a total thing of just doing what suits him, because he came out into the press conference after the Dominic Reyes John Jones fight and he said, oh, who the fuck are we? We're not judges.
Exactly.
Because that was basically promoter speak for thank fuck John Jones didn't lose. Yeah. So Mariah's won the fight. As in, there's not going to be an asterisk beside that fight.
No,
in
no
the
asterisk.
Books,
No.
So it's just doing what suits him, man.
Yeah.
And he probably wants to give. So he probably needed a card filler. Not a card filler. That's disrespecting the fight. But you know what I mean. He wanted a Brazilian guy on the card in a big fight.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's Aldo.
Yeah. No, I understand it. I just think it's absolutely shocking.
It's a horrible. It's not. It's a horrible match, mate. It's horrible management of a division. I think.
It is.
Because now you probably have to match Jan and Sterling.
Yeah.
Well, you could have had two title fights.
Yeah, two.
You could have put Aldo
contenders
against. If you match Jan up with Cejudo, put Sterling against Aldo, and then winner fights Cejudo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
No, it makes no sense. Bellator Dublin was on the weekend. I wanted to talk about a couple bits and pieces from it. What stood out to you? I can give
on the card.
Yeah.
Of the bits I was able to watch, Rob.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
The first fight of the night was very good. I'm going to steal that one on you.
Yeah.
Will Fleury, my man, Spud Life.
Yeah.
Looked very good. Got back in the win column. Delighted for him. Lee McCourt got a win. Kiefer. Yeah, it was grand, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was grand. Do you know what was a phenomenal one that I only caught now, and it was weird because there was an empty arena because it was the swing fight.
The swing bite at the end?
Yeah, it was the Elias Buliad fight, or Bulade. Man, that guy is fun to watch. Did you see that fight?
No, I didn't see it.
That guy is fun to watch. He's a former kickboxer, decorated, but he's like still only 23 or 24. He's 2-0 in MMA. Now the guy he was fighting didn't look very good, but the combinations that he was throwing was phenomenal. Very fun to watch. Yeah, I didn't see this one, but apparently the Aaron Chalmers fight was a bit garbage.
Yeah, I seen that fight.
Yeah.
Chalmers it was a step 2. I was just level too high. Your man was levels above him. So, do you know what? Aaron Chalmers gets a lot of shit just because of who he is.
Yeah.
Fair fucks to the man.
Yeah.
He does not have to go and do what he's doing now at all. And he's actually gone in and trying to build his career up the right way. He didn't go in and call out some big ass name and say, I'll fuck you up. He's actually gone in and tried to manage, not like grow a career out of it, and trying to do
give it a go.
He's trying to do it the right way. And man, fair play to him.
Yeah.
And he kept trying the other night as well. He didn't quit. He trying, and he landed some good shots in the man on the guy, but the guy was just too good a wrestler for him. So.
And to be fair, like as well, to take Bellator's or to give them a little bit of credit, they're putting them on basically the equivalent of a UFC fight night card.
Yeah.
Like, and it is what it is. Like, I mean, he's not taking up anyone's spot. It's fine.
No, absolutely not.
There's a card this weekend. I just want to talk about the main event pretty much.
Oh, sorry, I'm going to give out about Bellator again.
Yeah.
Because their coverage is a fucking joke. Like.
Oh, it's garbage, yeah.
It's a disgrace. As in, me and you follow the sport.
I know, and I couldn't figure it out.
We couldn't get our heads around how the card was actually, how we were supposed to watch it.
Yeah.
So we watched on YouTube first. I thought it was going YouTube app, Virgin Media, or Channel 5. Grand. Instead it went YouTube, blank, couldn't watch any fights because they're on tape delay.
But you got the spoilers on fucking Twitter.
Got the spoilers on Twitter. And then I watched a couple of fights. I don't know whether they're actually live or not on Virgin Media over here. The coverage is a joke. As in, you're arguably the second biggest MMA promotion in the world, and I can't watch the fights live. And if I do, I have to watch it in 3 different places and probably on tape delay as well.
Yeah.
It's a fucking joke.
It is a joke. Rant over?
Yeah.
But I agree with your rant, Sean. There's a card this weekend. It is the flyweight title. It is alive. They're going to actually get someone or give someone a title, or at least let them earn a title.
Flying every day, as Sean Sheehan
yes, sir. So it's Benavidez versus Figueiredo. I think this is a fun fight. I really do.
Yeah, good fight.
It's a good fight.
Delighted for Benavidez getting a shot again.
Me too. And it'll just be typical if he still can't win the title. But we'll talk about who we think is going to win. So, yeah, you do like the fight, Sean, yeah?
Yeah, I think it's a good fight. I like the flyweights, man. Keep them around. They're fun.
They're fun.
Yeah, the little guys.
Yeah.
Stand up for little guys like me.
Yeah.
I hope Benavidez wins, man.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the rematch with Cejudo with him as well.
Me too. I don't know what's ever going to happen, but I'd like to see it.
Probably not. Cejudo don't want that. Cejudo isn't interested. I don't
know.
No,
and Cejudo always had trouble making that weight anyway, so he probably has.
I think Benavidez wins, in my opinion.
I think Benavidez wins as well. I saw a lot of holes in Davidson Figueiredo's game over his last couple of fights. Even the last fight against Tim Elliott. Like, when he's coming out of clinch, he gets hit a lot. And that's partially because I don't think he's the best striker in the world. He has a big punch. But, like, if you want, like, obviously this is a different thing. But if you want to compare him to, like, say, Deontay Wilder, like, of the flyweight division, he's probably one of the bigger punchers. But, like, his technique is not really there. So, like, I saw a lot of opportunities for a better striker than someone like Tim Elliott that could catch Figueiredo. And even he did. So I think Joseph Benavidez, even though, again, he's kind of similar, he's not the best striker in the world, but he is one of the bigger punchers, way more than a Tim Elliott. So I think he might cause some troubles there.
8-11 on Benavidez and 11-10 on Figueiredo. I'd be pretty happy to have 8-11 in an ACA there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that makes sense. But yeah, I'll go with Benavidez as well.
Sorry, I know I've asked this before. Can someone please explain the Vegas odds to me in the comments?
Yeah,
I think Linus will, but they're needlessly complicated. They don't make sense. The fractions and decimals make sense. Fucking do it our way, American.
Do it our way.
Sorry, go on.
No, that's it. That's all I want to talk about there. One or two more things. I was just saying, or at least I was just told by somebody that you might see now in a minute, that Chris Fields is making a return.
This was a mad one. Yeah. I hadn't seen it, but man, I actually assumed he was retired, to be honest.
So did I.
He obviously never announced anything. He's obviously got the ball. He's obviously, him and Tom King, are doing bits with the Team KF out there. A phenomenal team out there. He's obviously got a little bit of an itch back. Yeah. I'd assume he still does a bit of sparring with a lot of the guys out there.
Yeah, of course, so. Definitely. But yeah, looks like he's making a return. It looks like it's going to be Cage Warriors, is it?
I would guess so, yeah.
Yeah,
I think Birmingham show is what our friend said.
Yeah. Speaking of friends, we're going to be joined by someone kind of special next.
You might know him.
You might know him. You might know his voice. You might know his face. But
you'll probably hear him before you see him.
There's a little clue for you. Let's go. So now on to your questions. The best part of the show, Sean. And to celebrate the best part of the show, we have a special guest. And for long-time listeners of the show or watchers of the show, you're going to recognise this voice and this face. It's Mr. Noel O'Keefe.
Look who it is. And I've saved the show, I believe, as well. He actually, my charger. Good to be back. I miss it. I listen to you every week. Sean's a disgrace. And it has not filled my boots whatsoever.
They're fairly big boots now.
Yeah.
As you can tell, with us sitting side by side.
And he's also forgot to talk into the microphone, although he is very far away from it, but it's all good. Noel, you're going to help us out with these questions. First one is actually to Sean, so we're going to get this out of the way and then we'll get on to the proper questions. James Mosley asked you, Sean, how are you going to apologise to Tyson Fury?
I don't have to apologise for everything. I said he'd win the fight.
Yeah, but he also said something else.
Yeah, I said he wouldn't knock a wank out. That's probably what I said.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said.
So, sorry Tyson, but thank you for the money you won me. Would be how I'd apologise.
Yeah, let's move on. Okay, Aidan Mack. Here's an interesting one, and this is a good one for actually Noel as well. Asks, I'd like to know how your opinions on what MMA UFC's impact in Ireland will be like when Conor eventually retires, both from a journalism and public interest perspective. Will his departure come the day to see a noticeable dip in the interest in Ireland, or I'm not sure if there's more there, but you get the gist. Noel, I'll throw this to you first, seeing as you're our special guest today. What's your thoughts?
It's like, obviously, Conor McGregor's the biggest star to come out of Ireland. He's the biggest star in mixed martial arts history. according to numbers and stuff like that. Obviously, people who follow in the sport a long time will have their favourites, Fedor, Vanderlei, whatever, Chuck Liddell, whoever your favourite might have been. But there's no doubt nobody compares with Conor's numbers. I hear bringing it to Ireland, it gives... Conor kicked the door down for a lot of Irish fighters. Some fighters, obviously, have gone to the UFC since from Ireland, haven't had anywhere near the same impact as Conor McGregor. But I would put Conor McGregor in the same, for his sport, he has done for MMA in Ireland what like the Euro 98 team and Jack Charlton era of Irish football done for soccer here in Ireland. It was always had a support. MMA, like you only have to look at UFC 93. That sold out within hours. UFC have announced they're coming back here in August. They got tickets going sale 26th of June. That'll sell out in hours. Conor's not on that card. You look at Bellator, just sold out the 3 Arena with a lot of Irish fighters. So it will have an impact, I think, in a worldly way, more so with the focus being in Ireland. But I firmly believe MMA has a huge support here. Like, you only have to go to regional shows here in Ireland to see, the support amateur MMA gets. Obviously, down south, there's not too many shows. But it will affect it, especially with journalism. And you know what? In some ways, it's easy to write an article about Conor McGregor, isn't it? It's almost a clickbait. And you'll see, like, the red labels doing that a lot. We'll just put Conor McGregor on that and people will click on it. So I do think it will have an impact. You might talk, we done years ago on obviously Fight Talk, we done that voice, Vox whatever. Pop, and like little old ladies knew who Conor McGregor is. I'd say if we asked, and this is no disrespect to any of the fighters now, if we asked them who Kiefer Crosby, Peter Queally, Will Flurry, James Gallagher was, that them 2 little old ladies mightn't know who them guys are. But us MMA fans will. Again, Peter Queally at the 3 Arena spent hours signing autographs and getting photographs taken with fans. So he's popular in the MMA circles. But to the wider outside of MMA fans, it's going to have a huge impact.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, like pretty much said it all there, didn't you? It's going to have a massive... I think, journalism and public interest is going to have a massive impact, but you've seen as well now how many gyms there are around Ireland as well. As in, from that perspective, there's a whole new generation of fighters have come up since Conor started fighting. It's not really going to affect that, I don't think. It's going to have just as big an impact on that end of it. But from the journalism, as in, the clickbait's gone when Conor goes. So. Well, hopefully. Like it could be other extracurricular activities that he could get in clickbait for.
Like I think he has... like left a really lasting impact that will stay around. Like, I think there's so many fans who started to be MMA fans with Conor, like Sean, you came around that time, and will stay. But there's always going to be the bandwagon fans. They always are going to exist, and they'll only be around for the big superstars. And I don't think we really have one right now in Ireland. So I think they'll go away. But I think all the work that he's done, and not directly, probably indirectly, but all the work that has happened with the whole Conor experience, I think that's going to stick around, like all the hardcore fans and stuff like that.
Yeah, because for me, I'd say, like, I was a big Chuck Liddell fan. Chuck's gone and he's finished, he's retired. That doesn't mean I've, oh well, that was fun while it lasted.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, the sport and your fellowship will add on, and hopefully we have the next breed, like your Rhys McKees, your Ian Garry's, your Paul Hughes, your John Mitchell. Do you know what I mean? These are young fighters who are like 3-0, 1-0. Rhys is obviously 10-2-1. But like, we have that style of fighter coming through. Kiefer Crosby, I think, is a great prospect. He's doing great things in Bellator. Obviously, then fan favourites Will Flurry. So we do have the next wave. Are any of them at Conor McGregor-esque level? That's too early to say for a lot of the early guys. But like, for me, I hold no apologies. I've said it for a long time. Like, I think Ian Garry is a special breed of young fighter. Yeah. He's got the persona, he's got the personality, he's got the looks, he's got everything. So it goes with him, and he can fucking kick people's fucking heads in.
Yeah.
Which is always a good benefit. But then you look even further down, you have like little Nate the Great. Like, he's probably going to be phenomenal when he's a little bit older. Derek Verhoeven's young fella, Jesus' name is escaping me at the minute. He's only a kid. He's only like 7 or 8 years of age, and he's a world BJJ champion. He's a phenomenal little fighter. So McGregor has planted the seed, and he's shown the way for a lot of these fighters. I think it's exciting times.
And not just that. Like, I think his biggest lasting impact, apart from everything like that he's done personally, whiskey. Yeah, that was on the fucking canvas. That was mad when I saw that at the boxing. But his lasting impact in terms of like what he gave to MMA, I think, will be that the UFC now look at Ireland and they see that there is talent there, like, and there's fans there. So like they just didn't come over here. Like they came here twice before Conor? Once in Dublin, once in Belfast. And then but now they see like, man, there's actually a lot of talent, and there's a lot of people who like MMA, and they're going to continue to come.
But it's the same with like Bellator. Like you look at, we've Bellator come here, we've had Cage Warriors come here, they're coming back here again. The Cage Warriors are really starting to invest,
and the attendance is always good.
Give me a call, I want the mic. But you know what I mean. You've Bama were coming here. So other promotions are seeing it too. I'm sure Brave will be back soon. But yeah, like it is. The future's bright for Irish MMA, and it's. Don't get me wrong, McGregor was clearly the spearhead of this.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's so many people involved in Irish MMA, both up north and down here, that have got us to where we are. And, like, again, the amateur stable in this country is fucking
awesome.
Phenomenal. We go to, like,
look
the
at
IMAFs,
the IMAFs,
and send, like, a small cohort of our fighters. And some might argue that they're not the best fighters that we have, but they've qualified to be in the Irish team. And they represent us, and they come back with fucking medals. Like, it's fucking phenomenal, the medal haul we bring back for such a small nation. Same with the boxing, Sean. You know yourself when we go to the Olympics. So, like, I do think it's there, and there's a bright future. Will we have a Conor McGregor? No. Ireland's not going to have a Conor McGregor.
The world.
England's not going to have a Nobody's going to have a fucking Conor McGregor. He was a phenom.
Yeah. I think as well, it's just one last point, it's harsh to actually compare any other fighter to Conor McGregor. As in, what we have now is a massive cohort of fighters actually competing at a level that they just were never competing at. And Conor has dragged that up from the ground.
Well, he was the full package. He wasn't just a fighter.
That's it, like.
Yeah. And holy Jesus.
Here's a novel.
Linus, he's always, but at least he put them in sections here, so we'll go for that. So he actually asked just for Sean's opinion on this, but we'll all chime in. Do you agree that Wilder may have been better off if he'd been hit straight on the chin? Worst case is he's KO'd. Best case, he gets up and recovers a bit between rounds, as it often happens with normal knockdown. Instead, that punch behind the ear.
Do you want to start with this one?
Yeah.
I think I kind of know what he's getting at. As in, the punch to the ear can just fuck your equilibrium up altogether. I think that's kind of what he's getting at.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he'd have been better off if he'd have been hit straight on the chin.
Yeah.
I think it probably fucked his equilibrium up.
Mate, I wonder if he's thinking, sorry Sean, I wonder if he's thinking like, because it was like hit behind the ear and then it was an extended beatdown, so potentially he's actually taken more damage over the course of the fight than he would have if he was just finished early. Maybe that's what it is.
I think you can argue the corner should have thrown the towel in earlier.
And they're arguing that they shouldn't have.
Yeah, well,
or some of them
that's a bunch of yes men.
That's insane, isn't it?
I think the guy who threw the corner in should be commended. The towel in, because he's potentially saved Deontay Wilder for another day, another show.
He's like a pariah now. They're like the rest of the corner men are going after
from the team.
It's insane.
Yeah. Well, rats will always try to pull other rats down and sink the ship. But I like, for me, like, just to answer that, I know it's obviously not directed at me because I'm not on the pod.
You're not young shizzy.
Yeah, but like, I think, like, I watched the Luke Thomas breakdowns, which was fantastic. I watched one from Robert Palin as well. He was a bit clueless.
Fuck that guy.
Right, like, but like, I think a lot of what Tyson done was, and you probably noticed it, Sean, being the boxing expert chair, I suppose. Aficionado was the word I was looking for. Wasn't coming.
You got there.
Nerd.
He was pawing out a jab to the left to sort of direct Wilder into. So he was deliberately almost missing and using a two-step to step in and staying out of Wilder. So the shot he had, there's the big thing, isn't it? Or did he burst the eardrum, or is it not? They're sort of saying it wasn't. It was just a cut in the ear.
They also said he didn't get hurt.
Yeah. Well, that's always the way. He was fucked. He was. Do you know what it was? And a lot of it today, like, it was Fury's grappling. Like, every time he was wrapping the head up and leaning that 271 pounds on him, you know, and he was big buttering him around. Like, he was pulling him around the way I pull you around the boxing ring, Sean. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was much bigger than him, like, and he used that weight brilliantly.
And the ref was quite useful to Wilder as well, because he actually didn't let them clinch that much. He broke it up fairly quickly a lot of the time. The point that he took off him was bullshit as well, by the way.
Plus, of course, you know.
I agree. Yeah.
The walkout cost you.
Yeah, obviously.
£40 additional. That's you know, whatever it was.
Second part.
Second part, have you ever seen another fighter knocked down and not having their balance for almost the entire 4 rounds? Can't really recall.
Joshua's balance was fairly gone when Ruiz put him down for the first time.
Actually, Joshua, that's actually happened to Joshua a couple of times, isn't it? Where was it against Klitschko where he got clipped down, and he
took a round off the next round and he just sort of jogged around and tried to get back, but the Ruiz one, he was kind of gone from the first knockdown.
We'll go to the last one here. How would Fury fare against a prime Mike Tyson? The closest from Mike would be maybe Lennox. No idea. So how would Fury do? I guess we'll say, how does Fury do against some of the boxing greats? It's always a weird question, though, going back and looking at that kind of stuff.
I mean, like, I think Wilder's probably the second hardest hitter ever after Mike Tyson. As in, he's sparking guys with no load up on shots. As in the shot he knocked out Luis Ortiz with, there was no load up on that. He just pinged him in the face and it was gone.
Tyson loaded up on
I don't know how he gets on against Tyson or against Mike Tyson. That's a hard question.
It's a very hard question.
Do you know what it is as well? It's the Rocky movie, isn't it? Where they're putting them in there against, they're all Rocky and against thing. It's like, boxing has evolved hugely since Mike Tyson was fighting. And I'm not saying, Tyson wouldn't do well in today's era, but the likes of, it's just the science behind the boxing and the simple things like the footwork has changed, patterns and how they throw punches, everything has changed. Like Fury's like 6'9". What size is Tyson? 5'6", 5'7". So you know what I mean? It's different. Fury's great at getting in. Like Tyson hits a rhino, he knocks him out.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, will he get the chance to hit?
Different game.
It's such a hard one to like. Can Mike's so small? Can he even reaching up to actually land on his face would be an issue?
Yeah, it's insane.
While I'm on the Rocky thing, Mickey always used to tell Rocky, no fucking riding or masturbating before fights, you lose your legs. So
go on, Tyson.
Wilder with the old suit, if he doesn't go that way, you know what I mean, he could have went to masturbation.
Did you see the stuff about Tyson masturbating 7 times a day?
Yeah.
That's some work to be putting in.
Some effort, yeah.
Fucking raw.
Let's go to the next one.
Next question.
Yeah. C. With the talk of Conor and Gaethje, people seem divided on whether Justin's a serious challenge or another handy matchup. What do you guys reckon? I actually have seen a lot of people fall on both sides of this one. Handy matchup, really tough matchup. Well, I'll go to the show.
I actually don't see how you could remotely think that's a handy matchup.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, I think that's one of the toughest fights out there for McGregor at the minute. Gaethje just drag him into a dogfight. I think. Well, that's what he's trying to do anyway. But
for me, this falls under the same thing of MMA fans' memory being extremely short spanned. Is that they only remember your last fight. So if this was McGregor coming back to fight Gaethje instead of when he fought Cowboy, they'd be saying this is a fight too far beyond them already. He comes in, he does what he does to Cowboy, and now all of a sudden people are saying this is a handy matchup. If you look at the Diaz fight as an example, right? Both very different skilled fighters, Gaethje and thing, but Gaethje can take a beating and take a hammering and come back. Now we've seen him against Poirier and Alvarez lose that style fight. But the one thing about Poirier and Alvarez is the great gas tanks, and the question still remains, as good as Conor looked to come back against Cowboy, is how's the gas tank? So he can conceivably go in and beat the shit out of Justin Gaethje for 2 rounds. What's he going to be like round 3? Because Gaethje's going to be standing there. And again, John, I agree with you. We could drag him into that style barn burner. For me, I think that's a fucking fantastic fight.
It is. It's a great fight,
and I will illegally stream if they pay-per-view. That's how we'll into that.
Big facts. I will illegally stream the shit out of that fight.
Out yourselves. Great stuff.
If anyone wants to stream, hit me up.
Yeah. It is one of them fights, though, isn't it, where like it all depends on what style of fight they engage in, or at least it depends on how long it goes. Because you do see, like, the longer it goes, it probably does favour Gaethje. Even though Gaethje does get tired, it's just that Conor seems to diminish very much so after a few rounds.
The thing with Gaethje is, though, like, Gaethje diminishes, but he can still take a good strong shot and fire back.
Exactly, yeah.
So, and again, like, he's got that wrestling aspect that we just don't see from Justin Gaethje. We just don't see because he just loves fucking fighting, like standing and trading. Yeah. But like, again, to counteract, we have seen him lose them fights against Poirier and Eddie Alvarez. MMA Matt says, Conor beats him because he's beating them too.
But then also, I think Poirier and Alvarez are way better at fighting that style of fight than Conor is. Conor is a way more slicker striker.
Yeah,
and that kind of thing.
I agree, because I think Gaethje in some ways would be like getting them and dragging them into deep waters and just keeping them there and letting them drown.
Yeah. David Little, what would your favourite MMA/boxing entrance be of all time? For me, in MMA, it was Jorge Masvidal's Scarface entrance. It's quite epic. In boxing, you can't beat Prince Nassim's Thriller entrance. Are you against elaborate entrances in combat sports? You have 2 questions there. So first one, go around the table. Go to you first now. Your favourite MMA entrance and boxing, or one or the other, if you can't think of one.
I
Tough question.
I'll go with boxing first. I know you posed at MMA first. For me, and it's not elaborate, it's more so the counter of the elaborate entrance, was Steve Collins when he fought Chris Eubank. Yeah. Eubank was coming out on motorcycles and thrones and stuff like that as well. But Steve Collins had shamrocks shaved in the side of his head, sat in the corner with a cassette player, a Walkman, ladies and gentlemen, with the headphones, you know, the little fuzzy headphones. And apparently he was listening to Rocky. Jeez, am I just talking about Rocky all day today? But so I love that because it sort of said to Eubank, you know, I don't give a fuck how you come in here. I'm going to beat the shit out of you. And that was down in Milltown, wasn't it? And he did beat the shit out of him.
Because he was using a magician or something, wasn't he, Steve Collins?
Yeah, mind.
Yeah.
That's a regular
thing. But they called it a magician at the time. They were like, he's using magic.
MMA, you got to throw it out there, Tom Lawler's antics, haven't you, in some ways. Yeah. But now I have to say, I loved when Conor, he doesn't do it as much, but when Conor used to, when he'd be coming out and he'd be doing all that, and then he's just looking at the camera. I used to love that. Yeah, that got me going. Izzy was pretty good too, the dancing. But you know, I'm not, if I want to see dancing, I'll go watch fucking X Factor or something. You know, let's get in the Cajun fight, lads.
MMA is the one against, I think it was Chad Mendes when Sinead O'Connor signed Conor.
That was quite good.
It was pretty that was pretty sick. The Foggy Jew, and then they went into that BIG tune, didn't they? Yeah, that was pretty good. And then boxing would be, there's a boxer from Manchester. I'm a Man United fan. Noel is as well. He'd know him, Anthony Crolla. He had his head caved in with a paving slab because he was trying to stop some.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, robbing his neighbour's gaff.
Holy shit!
And so he was scheduled to fight for a world title when this happened, and then he came back, fought for the world title, and at that, the walkout for that one was pretty good. He walks out to $1 million girl, is it? You make me $1 million bill. Sorry, he walks out to that song. That one was pretty.
Singing in his head, just get it. Oh, got it. Yeah, there we go.
He walks out to that one, and then it's full United fans, so there's loads of United chants and stuff going on, and it's the Manchester Arena, and it's packed out. It's deadly.
Ricky Hatton was always fun coming out in the Fat Man suit as well.
Yeah, he took all the best boxing ones. Two religious related ones. I'm not even religious, but remember Chemo Leopold coming out with the cross on his back, coming down to the cage, and then Diego Sanchez coming with the cross and running to the cage saying yes with the shouting. Yeah, that he's a maniac.
Is that when he went from the nightmare to the dream, wasn't it? And he came out with the crucifix.
Yeah, and he looked like just demented and insane. Yeah. Is that it?
That's it.
That's all the questions. No, thanks for joining us. Quick one before we let you go, because I'm sure everyone's wondering, what have you been getting up to?
Not a lot. I was sitting at home playing FIFA. Just busy with life and family life.
He actually watched the fights this weekend.
Yeah, that's why he joined us.
Prep for all the questions you had about Paul Felder, about Fury, about the heavyweight fight with DeLima. What a fight, by the way. But yeah, just busy with loads of shows coming up, like Clan Wars, Cage Legacy, Capital One, loads of so I'm busy with commentary and MCing. Busy with family life, 2-year-old little girl at home and a little boy on the way. So it's very fertile, man.
Yeah.
Stark difference here between me and Noel, who has like loads of responsibilities, whereas I'm probably going to go home and watch Yu-Gi-Oh or something because I have no responsibilities to anyone.
Yeah.
But keep it up, guys. They're doing deadly work on the podcast now. It's dropped a little, obviously. But
the quality has dropped a little bit.
But no, they're doing great stuff, and I tune in every week. And Sean's opening, by the way, people who don't know, he's robbing that from Chris D'Elia, who opens up his podcast. Congratulations.
Nothing good is original, so.
Yeah, it's pause. Yeah, you always steal from everyone. But yeah, sweet. And that's it. Subscribe to the channel. Check us out on the audio feed if you haven't already. And yeah,